It's the end of the year as we know it. Do we feel fine about our Prime Minister? How do I feel about Marcus Carnivorous as the year closes? And could I give him a report card? What would his report card say? Mine always said, needs to apply himself. What my teacher's report card should have said is, needs to understand what the fuck ADHD looks like. People rate politicians based on a number of things, like how much does he annoy the people that I don't like? How often am I picturing him with less clothing on? Do I think he's part of a cabal of rich people who do horrible things? So I'm just going to pick a bunch of random criteria. I'll probably be more than a little wrong. Feel free to let me know what you disagree with in the comments. Firstly, representing Canada on the world stage. I think in this respect, he probably deserves an A. It seems like any time I see any sort of international coverage of Carney, it's always pretty glowing. Justin with the good hair got a lot of good media buzz, but a lot of that tended to sound like people talking about their ski instructor who they wanted to bone. With Carney, the general perception does seem to be that everyone thinks he's super smart and he behaves in a respectful manner, which, given the turd down south, that's nice. Investing in the future. On this, I'll give him a C plus, which I think a lot of people will probably be like, dude, he's the first prime minister in a long time to meaningfully talk about the importance of investing in anything. I'll agree with you. Our last few prime ministers have been pretty invested in fucking up the public sector and letting crown corporations be sold off for short-term profit. So yeah, they would all score worse. But with all this investment in things, the only catalyzation that I see of anything, it's just private businesses for the most part. The one exception that I've seen is the Churchill port. What would it have taken for me to give him an A? Crown corporations, for one. There are so many things that we don't need private industry doing. There doesn't need to be a profit motivation in doing things like picking up the trash. There doesn't need to be private industry involved in all kinds of things that we're just like, yeah, let's just have a company add overhead in shareholder profits to this commonplace utility thing. On dealing with Danielle Sith, this goes to Carney's strengths. Alberta and Quebec are generally the two most fraught provinces for the federal government to deal with because Quebec has a distinct identity and culture, and Alberta thinks they do. And in both cases, their provincial premiers often try and aura farm by talking shit about Ottawa. Carney has honestly been really good at ensuring that Danielle will look really silly, as he agrees with most of what she says she wants, but sets out terms that are reasonable, but which her owners will never agree to. So she gets to look like she's accomplishing things while doing nothing. And everyone else can see that the Empress has no clothes on. And I apologize for giving my followers that mental image, but if you're not one of my followers and you've gotten this far into the video, you deserve it. You can just click one button. It's not that hard. Taking care of everyday people. I'm going to be honest and say a D. Some people will probably strongly disagree with me, and they feel free, let me know in the comments. But this government doesn't seem to have a real set of values when it comes to workers' rights, both in how they've handled Canada Post's employees as well as Air Canada's. They've been roughly as bad as Danielle in Alberta, and would you give her a good score? No. So why would you give Carney a good score? The one bright spot for Carney has been stuff with workers in industries that have been affected by the trade war. The government has done some good stuff for them, but given that they did this for them, but not for Air Canada workers, I'm inclined to think that this was more about protecting the industries rather than the workers. So overall, if we tally all of this up, carry the one, he gets a, ooh, is that a shiny squirrel?